Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with life coach, writer, speaker, and architect of the art of a good life, Claudia M. Gallegos. She helps people live consciously, joyfully, and with intention. Her work combines deep spiritual insights, utilizing world-class tools to navigate relationships, purpose, change, and emotional healing. She doesn't just speak about transformation, she lives it. She has walked through reinvention multiple times, changing countries, languages, careers, and belief systems, always guided by a commitment to living the art of a good life. Enjoy this story.
Excellent. Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
My pleasure.
So I want to begin our conversation before we get into your life as a life coach and a writer and a speaker by asking you this. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed so many things for all of us. How did you get through the pandemic of 2020, and how did it affect the way that you do your work now in 2025?
Well, living in Miami, we had a little privilege because we were able to go outside and walk, not like in other cities that were more enclosed and couldn't get in the street. We had the liberty of going for a walk, and I live in a natural body of water. So we were able to jump on the lake and swim and sit outside with all our neighbors in our condominium. So I thought it was a great opportunity to reconnect with oneself. Instead of suffering, I thought it was a good opportunity to reevaluate what I am doing and where do I want to go from here, and what are the next steps? Where do I want to put my gifts or my talents or whatever I was given to refocus, right? I know many people suffered a lot with the pandemic, but I thought it was a great opportunity to reconnect and to reconnect with loved ones and have fun and cook again, some things that we don't, and, find the joy of life again.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis for a living. And I want to do it by putting you in front of a bunch of grade school kids at a schoolhouse. They're 12 years old. It's career day. And one of the kids is like, hey, what do you do for a living? What's your answer?
I help people to find their own path, their own expression of who they are, instead of being whoever somebody else wants, is to be authentic and to be connected with oneself. That is my mission. In
other words, the art of a good life.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. What did you want to be at 12 years old? What was your dream job?
Oh, I don't know. I wanted to be so many things. I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to play music. I wanted to play sports. I always wanted to do many things and to explore. But one of the things that is a constant is reading. I think I found many worlds in books. So that was at 12. Actually, I was living in a very small town in the countryside in Argentina, and books were a line of life. A line of life to other worlds that I was not seeing at that time, right?
So let me ask you this. What were the foundational elements of your childhood that gave you this love of creating, of art, of writing, music, and then ultimately to become kind of a visionary to help people get to that point, to really embrace themselves? What were those elements that were planted into you early on?
Well, I saw many people. I saw my parents and their friends having, getting together and enjoying their company and having dinners or lunches and enjoying friendships. and going to a theater and listening to music and dancing. And, there was a joie de vivre, a joy of life. And then the 80s came, and I was, was a young, I was becoming an adult in the early 80s. And it was very interesting because that joy was changed for money and hustle and more money and more hustle. And the more you worked and the more exhausted you were, it was better. And I think going back to the pandemic, made a hard stop and said, well, is this what we want? Is this how we live life? So, it was like a cycle. And I think it worked out. And I see more and more people finding their own expression, even as a second or third career, which is fantastic, right? Because we're not more monodimensional. We're not only one thing. We're so many things. And we are not in a box. We can have different expressions in different stages of our lives.
So talk to me a little bit about heroes, the inspirational forces that have allowed you to become who you are at this point in your professional life.
Well, one of my, now I recognize is one of my heroes. It was one of my great grandmothers. She grew up in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And she left home when she was very young. She was of Scottish and Spanish descent. And she left home and she went to the big city. She lived in the countryside in Argentina and went to a big city to study the art. And she was a great inspiration because she always did whatever she chose to do. She was a painter, and she was a sculptor, and she lived as a painter, as a sculptor. She was a mother who was a widower, very young, with 4 children, and she lived life as she wanted. So she has been a little bit like a myth in my family, and now I recognize that she has been a big inspiration because what she did is to be who she wanted to be without excuses and without having to justify herself. So I think that is, growing up with that and, her paintings all around the house and having that consciousness that you can be whoever you want or whoever you choose to be. That is, to me, is a big, big thing.
So let me ask you this. If you could meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find inspirational or amazing that might help you on your journey, is there someone you would love to meet and spend a little time with?
I would spend time with Deepak Chopra because I find that he is an endless well of new ideas and being on the edge of what is happening. And he's in his early 80s now. And he is thinking how AI can help my work. And I find that beautiful, having the courage to live and be who you are and be creative and always thinking how my input, my ideas, my process of what is happening, how it can help others. And I find that absolutely moving. I would sit with him and I would, try to keep him for me for at least a week.
Yeah. For sure. So let me ask you this. What is it that gets you up every day, that continually keeps you motivated to change lives, to grow yourself as a professional, take care of your own soul? What is that collective energy to do all of this at a high level each and every day?
Well, the first thing is that I feel a strong connection with whatever organization you want to call, however you want to call the organization of the universe. I always thought that there's something bigger than my expression of in this life, my life and my personality in this particular life. And I think that is a big inspiration. It gives me hope. It gets me enthusiastic. Every day there's something new to learn. I'm an avid learner. I want to learn everything. Whatever comes to me, I want to know and I want to discover. And then I discovered that all those little inputs help me to generate new ideas. So to me, that's a big motivation. My friends, my family, having good food, having a good tea for the morning so I can drink tea all morning. Those are the things that motivate me.
So let's say you had a dream tonight, ran into a 18-year-old version of you ready to go out into the world and change it. And you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you've gained over all of this time. What advice would you impart on that young version of you?
I would say, take it easy. Don't cry so much. Everything will be okay. I was a big crybaby. I was like super stressed out all the time. And I think it will be, take it easy. Everything will turn out okay. You don't need to know everything now. You can learn as you grow. And that is the most important thing, is that every single step, that even when it feels that it is a mistake, it is not a mistake, because it's preparing us for the next step in our lives. And maybe it's not in 6 months, but maybe it's in 3 years. And all those little things that we learn along the way, all those things are the things that, make us who we are and to enjoy life in a different dimension.
So if you were to walk into a room of all of your clients that you've had throughout the years that know you in a professional sense, and you could walk up to a podium in front of all of them and tell them a fun story about your life, maybe, one of your favorite books, maybe the first concert that you ever saw that made you think, I love music, any fun event, maybe a wonderful place that you visited or lived in, something along those lines that might humanize you a little bit to that group of professionals. What would be a fun story that you would tell that room?
Oh, there's so many. One of the things you mentioned, music. I think it was in 81. I am outing myself with my age, but in 81, I was a teenager, and Queen, the English rock band, went to Argentina. And I went for the first time to a concert. And it was a big thing because Argentina at that time was under a military government. And we had to take 2 buses, and it was like an hour and 15 minutes travel. And we went with a group of friends, and suddenly all the lights go out. And there's this, I think it was one of the first times I felt the vibration of all of the people in the same frequency. And it recharged me in a way. It made me discover an aspect of myself that I didn't know that. And I didn't recognize that at that time. I recognized that in retrospective, right? But it was that sense of, the collective energy, and how that collective energy helps propels us to the next step in our lives. That was a big thing for me. That was a very, very big thing. One of the first things I did as an more independent young person, right? There were many others. We went with my parents to southern Argentina, to the mountains, and in southern Argentina is very close to Antarctica, right? And when in the middle of the night, you could see you can see the stars in a way that it feels that it's going to suck you into the energy of into the sky. And those are sensations that you don't forget, that, make you feel like you're part of something bigger, that you're part of an organization that you do not control, but it's very, very important to do it, right?
Absolutely. So, of everything that you've accomplished and become and evolved to at this point in your life, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
I think getting to a point, I had many expressions, many iterations of myself, right? I did many, many things in my life, and accepting that I have a talent to help people to find a life with quality, a life that I can help them to find who they are and to be proud and live from who they are without the constraints or without the expectations of others, of your family, of the society where you live in, being themselves. I find that one of a gift that I can give, and a gift that I can give to myself as well.
So at the end of the day, everyone out there has a perception of you, Claudia. Family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that really knows you. But ultimately, you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, everybody has a perception that I am a very calm person. And inside, I feel anything but calm. So, but I think everybody can think that I'm a generous person, that I'm going to be there for them when they need a hand, that I always see the big picture, and I always see the best in people. I refuse to see the bad side of things. It's not serving me. I think we are here to enjoy the ride, not to suffer. There are moments that are a little more challenging, but I think that is the most important thing, to enjoy life and to find how we can have a quality life and enjoy the experience and grow with it. I think that is, I always inspire people to grow, to live a full life, to live without fear. I think if I can do that, that's good for me. I'm happy.
Very well said. So if anyone out there wants to delve into your world of creativity, your blog, hire you, have questions, any of the good business, where should they go?
They can go to my Instagram profile, that is The Art of a Good Life, with no spaces. On TikTok is the same name, The Art of a Good Life. That is what I'm working on, and I think is something we can all work on. And there you have the link to my bio. My website is under reconstruction, so it will be available sometime later. But Instagram and TikTok, same handle, The Art of a Good Life. There you have a link with all the places where you can find me. I think it's the best way to do it.
Okay. I will put those links in the show notes. Claudia, this has been really great. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you, Joe. It has been a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. Our esteemed theme music was composed and produced by the great E.E. Pointer of Kansas City's River Cow Orchestra. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.